Very excited to take the political compass test. It's become very popular because people are obsessed with themselves. They don't really care about politics or anything. They just want to answer questions about themselves for like 15 or 20 minutes. So listen, I'm not better than that.
Okay, hot take. Of everyone at the Daily Wire, Michael Knowles is the weak link. He's the most likely one to do something that's going to get him fired. He's the most likely one that's going to do something that puts all of the Daily Wire in jeopardy.
Remember, I saw this I remember it was a left libertarian. That would be some like free love hippie, right? And then you could be a left totalitarian or authoritarian. That would be like Bernie Sanders, whose honeymoon's in the Soviet Union. Or you could be a right.
He didn't honeymoon in the Soviet Union. He went there as diplomacy. Oh, wait. No, he's quoting it from that one movie. Yeah. Oh, man. Like I said, Michael Knowles is the weak link. Yeah, in that Candace Owens Daily Wire video, everyone was warning him how creepy he was. Yeah, that's so weird.
Paul or Ron Paul, his father. Or you could be a right-wing authoritarian, which would be like Genghis Khan or Attila the Hun. I bet I'm going to be closer.
He has to go to Genghis Khan.
Genghis Khan and Attila the Hun. But we will answer the questions and wait and see. First question.
Dog. Don't. Being close politically to Genghis Khan is not a fucking good thing.
Globalization is inevitable. So right off the bat, we know that this test is just bogus because globalization is not inevitable. We proceed. If economic globalization is inevitable, it should primarily serve humanity rather than the interests of... Okay,
now he's speaking fast again. We gotta...
transnational corporations. Well, to quote Mitt Romney, corporations...
Okay, dude.
These are people, my friend. So it's hard to draw that neat distinction. This is an extremely dumb question. But I guess if at the heart of this question is, should economics serve purely abstract ends, or should it serve human ends, then it should serve human ends. Very dumb question, so I'm going to agree. I won't...
There's an if. That's the first word of the question. I'm Michael Knowles. I'm very smart.
But I'll agree. I'd always support my country whether it was right or wrong. Agree. Of course I would.
What?
How can your country be wrong? Just like completely, totally wrong.
Vietnam? How's that?
It can go through challenging political times. It can have bad or dumb leaders. But your country itself is your country. I could no more renounce my country than I could renounce my own family. No one...
Yeah, North Korea?
...chooses his or her country at birth, so it's foolish to be proud of it.
That's highly sus, though.
Well, it's foolish to be proud of everything, because pride goeth before destruction and a haughty spirit before a fall. However, I suspect the way this test is using pride
I'm not impressed.
is like affection or loyalty or love of country. That's often what people mean when they say national pride. So I will strongly disagree with that.
Good.
Our race has many superior qualities compared with other races. Well, obviously, if we're referring to the Sicilians, my swarthy skin...
No, don't give me this. Just say no.
...would be something. Our ability to manifest is a superior quality. This is a tricky question because I suspect what they're getting at is civilization or culture. Very often you'll hear civilizations referred to as a race, but that's very different than the sort of essentialist biological sense of race, which is, you know, how we're born.
No!
It's difficult to know what they're saying.
What?
Probably we should err on the side of them writing a very bad question here, and since there is neither Jew nor Greek nor slave nor bond in Christ Jesus,
again, not
impressed. I have to vote against the apparent racism. I will say that I disagree with.
Okay, that's not a good sign. Like I said, he's the weak link at the Daily Wire. What the fuck? What the fuck? That's so weird. It's a pretty simple question, Michael. What is this?
The enemy of my enemy is my friend. Yeah, I agree. You know, friend for a time, maybe not your friend forever, but certainly for a time. That's how politics works. That's all how human relations work as well. Military action that defies international law is sometimes justified. Well, there's no such thing as international law, so I guess I strongly agree with that.
Michael Knowles. Michael, violate the Geneva Convention, Knowles. Michael, I'm gonna bomb a hospital, Knowles.
There's now a worrying fusion of information and entertainment. I strongly disagree with that. I love these people, you know, the people who complain about entertainment and politics going together, as if that hadn't always been the case. If going back to ancient Greece and Pericles, when we refer to the greatest, most entertaining orations of all time, we're not talking about the most famous politician. How about Abraham Lincoln? You think that guy wasn't entertaining? He did a roadshow with Stephen Douglas. Give me a...
He wasn't fucking news.
Break. Best presidents of our recent history. Ronald Reagan.
These people weren't fucking news reporters.
Hollywood actor. Donald Trump, reality TV host.
Oh God, he actually thinks Donald Trump is the best. Oh, wow. When did this come out? Probably during the presidency. March 2020. Okay, yeah. Before Trump lost, like the loser he is. Hang on a second. We can see at the top here a bunch of things he has saved. Twitter, Daily Wire, ESV Daily Bible, IP lookup, editorial sheet, our royal title, and then ancestry. Why does he have ancestry on the top bar here? That's kind of strange. Lincoln did hunt vampires. That was true.
People are ultimately divided more by class than nationality. Strongly disagree. That's what Marx thought, and it turned out not to be true, and we saw that play out in the 20th century.
Oh man, when you're definitely in tune with the working class, when you're definitely in tune with the struggles that all of Americans are going through these days.
Controlling inflation.
Yeah, is he trying to find someone's IP? Ew, that might be it.
Is more important than controlling unemployment. Really, you can do two things at one time. You don't need to just pick one or the other. But I think at the heart of this question, should we prioritize abstract economic concepts, or should we prioritize people? And I would probably prioritize people. Now, the argument for saying inflation...
This guy's totally like the wet blanket of the party. You know what I mean?
More important here is because then everybody's property diminishes in value. But the argument for saying
oh my God,
unemployment
Michael,
is the bigger issue is that people are made to work. From the moment that our first father Adam was in the Garden of Eden...
Ladies, you had a party and this guy rolls up to you and he's talking about inflation. What are you gonna do?
He had a job to do. He was naming the creatures, he was gardening. Then he gets kicked out of the garden and he's got to till the soil and get his food from the sweat of his brow. So employment here is very important to the human person.
What the fuck?
Disagree. Because corporations cannot be trusted.
That didn't answer anything.
Trusted to voluntarily protect the environment, they require regulation. I agree. A lot less regulation than we have right now, but in principle I agree.
Wait, less? Oh, that's right. He doesn't think climate change is a thing. I'm Michael Knowles, and I really like it when coal plants have all this fly ash runoff that seeps into the water supply and irradiates the local community. And I really like it when babies are born stillborn because we couldn't regulate things, but that's okay because my corporate overlords made a little bit more profit in last quarter. His argument was employment is the human condition. I can't even argue against that.
From each according to his ability to each according to his need is a fundamentally good idea. Strongly disagree. That's Marx's idea. It's immoral and just as a practical matter, it never ever works. And actually, at the founding of our own country, after the Pilgrims landed here from the Mayflower, they got out, they tried to practice this idea of from each according to his ability to each according
He's not actually arguing against it.
To his need. And it turned out nobody worked because some other guy would work for him and then you would get according to your needs. So strongly disagree.
That's not an argument against it. I don't think they did practice it. It's not a question of whether it'll work. It's a question of whether you agree with the idea behind it, which I would say it's a pretty good idea because it kind of takes into account the entire idea of specialization within an economy, doesn't it? Like, some people are really good at certain things. Some people are really good at growing plants. I'm pretty good at that. Some people are really good at sewing and operating certain machinery. That's kind of how our entire economy works. How you want to redistribute things is the other part of that, and that's where we disagree. From each according to his ability, each according to his need, doesn't necessarily mean everyone gets things for free, but whatever.
Drinking water is now a bottled, branded consumer product. Now, it's a wonderful reflection on our society that we have so many choices in drinking water. So we can either slum it with the tap water or we can go with the fancy Fiji.
I think the idea behind the question is that some people can't get tap water and they get sold the same water from the local wells is just sold back to them in bottles at an extremely high markup.
We get to choose which one we want. Works for me, man. Strongly disagree.
I don't mind the competition, but come on.
Land shouldn't be a commodity
to be
bought and sold. What should it be? What's the alternative? What the left wants to pretend is the alternative is we're all just living like kumbaya, having a great time. But
I don't think that's what the left pretends.
Land will always be a commodity that is controlled.
One thing I would like to say, I don't do this often.
Oh my God, a Daily Wire ad with Andrew Klavan.
By a person or a group of people. The question is, do you want it to be controlled by people like you and me, or by the government, for instance.
Well, hold on now. Control by the people like you and me is different than what we have now, Michael. If you want to democratize land, hey, I'm on board with this. Now you are talking. But the way it is now, it's not control. It's not democratized. It's a commodity that's bought and sold just like every other. It's not subject to democracy and people like you and me. It's subject to market forces and capital.
Certainly not the government. So I
and all his brain can think of is government.
Strongly disagree with that. It is regrettable that many personal fortunes are made by people who simply manipulate money and contribute nothing to society. Who is that? Who does that refer to? Probably
you. Got him.
The nincompoop who wrote this question thinks it refers to people on Wall Street, like investors or bankers or something, as though they're just sitting at a desk, like shuffling piles of money around. That's not how the financial service.
I think it refers more specifically to capital gains and venture capitalism, where you kind of pretty much make money just by owning capital already, and then either investing it or just by nature of owning it, and then then the value of it goes up. But
services industry works. Financial services adds liquidity to markets. Investors invest money in companies that create jobs, that create products. It's so dumb.
By investing, you're not really adding anything to the economic chain, but okay.
So I reject the premise of the question.
You're not really adding value.
But even getting at what they try to say, strongly disagree.
Yeah, I'm sure he would.
Protectionism is sometimes necessary in trade. Strongly agree. The only
no explanation. Okay.
Responsibility of a company should be to deliver a profit to its shareholders. I disagree with that. I mean, it's hard. I'm right in the center on that. I mean, that is the primary objective of a company is to deliver a profit to its shareholders. But
that's the primary one, though? Okay, that's all right.
A company does have other roles in society. And actually,
like what?
The reason it's complicated is because the neglect of those roles in society can generate a lot of bad PR and ultimately stop the shareholders from getting their profits. So, dumb question, really, I would throw the whole thing out, but if I have to try to get at the heart of what it's saying, I guess I would slightly disagree. The rich are too highly taxed.
He didn't even explain.
Strongly agree. The rich pay all the taxes in this country, and so
they pay less as a proportion now than they ever have, at least in the last 100 so years. Roaring 20s, part 2, baby!
So, sure, the vast
Second Great Depression, yeehaw!
Vast majority of taxes in this country, and so, yeah, I think they are probably too highly taxed. And I can't wait to become one of those rich who is too highly taxed.
There we are.
We'll lower them. Those with the ability to pay
there it
should
is.
have access
There it is. All right, hot take. It's probably not going to happen to Michael Knowles. He's probably going to get fired by Ben Shapiro one day. That's probably what's going to happen. He, like I said, the weak link. He's going to I don't know. He's going to make some. He went on Fox News once. Hold on. I gotta pull this up. He went on Fox News once and he got he did something really stupid. Fox apologized for his behavior. It was amazing.
Were about science, it would be led by scientists
here we go.
rather than by politicians and a mentally ill Swedish child who is being exploited by her parents and by the international left. So what you're seeing here is a political movement and a religious movement, and it's fulfilling religious and political goals of the left, but it isn't doing very much for science.
Chris, you had a visceral reaction to that.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, I mean, you're a grown man and you're attacking a child. Shame on you. She's trying to do what she thinks is right. And by the way, now, relax, skinny boy. I got this, okay? You're attacking a child. You're a grown man. Have some cool.
I'm not. I'm attacking the left for exploiting a mentally ill child.
Maybe on your podcast, you get away and say whatever you want because
he just doubled down.
Nobody's listening. You're on national television. Be a grown-up when you're talking about children. She's trying to save the planet because your president doesn't believe in climate change, and kids need to take to the streets to worry about their future. You are despicable for talking to her about her like that, and you should apologize on national television right now.
Yeah.
I think the international left and her parents who are exploiting a girl with many mental illnesses.
You called her mentally ill. Take it back now.
He keeps doing
Take it back now.
She is mentally ill. She has
Take
autism. She has
now.
obsessive compulsive disorder. She has selective mutism. She had depression.
You are despicable.
Her mother wrote about.
Shortly after this clip.
Okay, I don't care about you. He got banned. Yeah. They don't bring him back on Fox News anymore after that. Like I said, he's the weak link at Daily Wire. You know, even Ben Shapiro has like media presence and awareness. He's not going to say something like that on live fucking TV. Oh man.
And I can't wait to become one of those rich who is too highly taxed, and then maybe we'll lower them. Those with the ability to pay should have.
Yeah. So he's 31 years old now. He would have been 29 when he said that. Man.
Access to higher standards of medical care. That's not even a normative question, like should or should not. It is simply a descriptive matter that it has always been and will always be the case.
The question is, should it be? No! It's not a question of what is it, it's a question of what it should be. This is a very simple like distinction in like philosophy. Wait, you my guy.
The people with more money have access to more stuff. Any reasonable person would have to strongly agree with that, not as a matter of should or should not. It's just the way the world always works. It's like saying, the sun should shine. Strongly disagree. Well, okay, man. Good luck with that one. Governments should penalize businesses that
That was so dumb, Mike. What is wrong with you?
Mislead the public. What do you mean mislead the public? If we're talking about how markets do need structures around them and guardrails, then sure, I guess I slightly agree. But again, very dumb question.
How about we're giving out baby powder that gives you cancer? And we know it might, but we do it anyway. How about Nestle when they offer a alternative to baby feeding that fucking kills your babies? An alternative baby formula that fucking kills babies. And they know it might, but they do it anyway. What about ExxonMobil, who did research into climate change and realized that their carbon emissions from burning their fuel is going to contribute to climate change, which is very serious, to a very serious degree, on the point that they know they're responsible for it, but they hid the research and did it anyway because they kept wanting to make money. How about that? Oh, no.
Genuine free market requires restrictions on the ability of predator multinationals to create monopolies. Yeah, free markets need to protect against certain monopolies, sure. The freer the market...
There's an answer, finally.
The freer the people. Yeah, generally that's true. Not always, though. You know, especially when you look at the international sphere, if you have no barriers to trade, for instance, and you're outsourcing all of your jobs to another country, and some other country is not playing fairly, and they have a ton of barriers to trade, and they're illegally subsidizing their aluminum industry, and I'm actually just talking about China here, then certainly it is not the case that the freer the market, the freer the people.
Illegally subsidizing their aluminum industry? I don't know what the fuck that's referring to.
So I guess I kind of agree, but, you know, come on, write better questions, guys. Abortion, when the woman's life is not threatened.
Okay.
And should always be illegal. Strongly agree.
Yeah, I know. He's pro-deaf. Yeah.
All authority should be questioned. It's very difficult to make that statement because any rational discourse has to begin with certain premises. A equals A. A plus B equals B plus A.
This guy is such a fucking loser. He tries to explain these things, and as he does, it's like, why are you adding an explanation to this that doesn't actually explain anything?
I can't.
It's not
those things, but
you're not insightful or funny. What?
That's where it's like from my assertion. Like I would have to.
It's like he was that kid in high school who would always try to act smart, but he never really was, and all he did was like just embarrass his friends, and everyone else in the class was like, "Oh my God, shut up, shut up, shut up! We want to get on with the lesson."
Assume, if I'm having a rational discourse, that truth exists. So you have to assume certain things. Chesterton put it well. He said, "There is a thought that stops thought, and that is the only thought that ought to be stopped."
I don't know. I'm watching your listen to you talk. I can feel my thoughts stopping. Ha ha!
So I have to very slightly disagree. An eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. That's a description of justice, but then forgive your enemies and pray for your persecutors is a description of mercy. So I guess as a description of justice, I agree with that. What is it describing? Taxpayers should not be expected to prop up any theaters or museums that cannot survive on a commercial basis. I disagree with that. Schools should not make classroom
Oh, he didn't explain, but okay. Okay, that's something.
attendance compulsory. I strongly disagree with that. All people have their rights, but it is better for all of us that different sorts of people should keep to their own kind. What the hell does that mean? I guess I'm going to disagree with that.
What the hell does that mean? I don't know, but I'm just going to disagree. It's pretty clear it's talking about race, my guy.
I don't even know where that's going. Good parents sometimes have to spank their children. Yeah, I guess so. Not a huge fan of corporal punishment, but sometimes you gotta do it, I guess. It's natural for children.
He did it anyway.
To keep some secrets from their parents. Yeah, it's natural. Probably shouldn't encourage it if you're a parent, but that is natural. Strongly agree. Possessing marijuana for personal use should not be a criminal offense. Disagree. I don't really care. I just hate that potheads.
I'm sorry. He's just like zipping through them now.
Use should not be a criminal offense. Disagree.
He doesn't want marijuana to be legal. Like, come on. This guy's the weak link. He's gonna do something that's gonna get him kicked out of this. He can't keep doing it.
I don't really care. I just hate that potheads try to make marijuana legalization like the civil rights struggle of our times. Give me a break.
What?
Good grief. It's also different than booze in that booze has...
The United States has record numbers of people in prison, more so than any other nation in the world, both by total numbers and per capita. And a lot of them are in there for drug offenses that only really started with the war on drugs, specifically right around Reagan and Nixon. Reagan especially. Like, my guy, this kind of is a civil rights issue. White people and black people smoke marijuana at the same rate, but even when you control for outside variables, black people get convicted more and at longer sentences. So, yeah, this kind of is a civil rights thing. Now, I don't care about some pothead, but like, this is a thing.
Always been in our civilization, going back to the ancient old-timey days.
Fucking with my brain, man.
Miracle is turning water into wine for drunk people. So it's been around a long time, that's why prohibition didn't work. But marijuana is just some new foreign lib thing, so it seems to me better not to.
Didn't marijuana grow in the United States, or not North America? Hold on, now I have to know. It's native to Central Asia and the Indian subcontinent. Okay, it's been around for a long time. Hold on. I have to know when it started. Here we go. History.com, that works. Marijuana, also known as cannabis or pot, has a long history of human use. Most ancient cultures didn't grow the plant to get high, but as herbal medicine, likely starting in Asia around 500 BC. Hey, Michael Knowles, that's quite a bit before your, when Christ turned the water to wine. Haha. All right.
To introduce that into our culture. The prime function of schooling should be to
foreign
equip the future generation.
Like, all right,
to find jobs. Strongly disagree with that. People with serious inheritable disabilities should not be allowed to reproduce. Strongly disagree with that. The left, I think, strongly agrees with that. In Iceland last year, there was a headline. They said, Iceland has eradicated Down syndrome. I said, you eradicated it what? Like you came up with a cure for it? And it turned out, no, they just kill all the people who have Down syndrome in the womb. So that.
I don't think I've ever heard that one before. Is this true? Huh. Well, maybe it is. Yeah. With the rise, hold on, this is from CBS. With the rise of prenatal screening tests across Europe and the United States, The number of babies born of Down syndrome has significantly decreased, but few countries have come as close to eradicating Down syndrome births as Iceland. Well, Iceland has a relatively small population, so that is a factor. Iceland is the left. That's true, yeah. Babies of Down syndrome are still being born in Iceland, says Hulda. Not even going to try to pronounce that name. All right. Well, it still fundamentally hinges upon whether or not you consider abortion to be murder and at what stage, but let's go. The question here was about people with serious inheritable disabilities should not be allowed to reproduce, which is not, the Iceland Down syndrome thing is not really part of the question, though. Let's go.
The most important thing for children to learn is to accept discipline. Dumb question, but I guess I'll agree. There are no savage and civilized peoples. There are only different...
You think Michael Knowles beats his kids?
Cultures.
I think he
strongly
does.
Disagree, because I have eyes. So, you look around, I mean, gosh, look at so many modern cultures. They're more savage than tribal cultures.
Hey, I agree with that.
Are able to work and refuse the opportunity should not expect society's support. Strongly agree with that.
Work will set you free, right, Michael? Right, Michael?
When you are troubled, it's better not to think about it, but to keep busy with more cheerful things. I guess I do agree with that. First-generation immigrants can never be fully integrated within their new country. I disagree with that. What's good for the most successful corporations is always ultimately good for all of us. Strongly disagree with that. Corporations and corporate America is probably the leading leftist institution in the country. They're the ones who go along to get along with anything because all they
Well, that's stupid.
care about is dollars and cents. So it might be in their interest to embrace some stupid gender theory or something, but certainly not in our interest. No broadcasting institution, however...
That was amazing. I was just reminded, he talked about the civilization thing. There was a Mark Twain quote. A Mark Twain quote. Did I get that right? Yeah. He said, like, this was from something later in his life. 1 second. Yeah, following the equator. The quote was, "There are many humorous things in the world, among them the white man's notion he is less savage than the other savages." And it's kind of a stark difference between some of his earlier work. All right, anyway, let's go.
However independent its content should receive public funding. No, I disagree with that. You need broadcast for certain public functions, but I do agree that we should probably pull some funding from those left-wingers at NPR. Our
wow!
civil liberties are being excessively
Aren't you taking fucking oil money?
in the name of counterterrorism. I disagree. A significant advantage of a one-party state is that it avoids all the arguments.
You just have anything else to say to that?
That delay progress in a democratic political system. I disagree with that because we won the Cold War, so it seems like we had the advantage. Although the electronic age makes official surveillance easier,
that doesn't make sense.
Only wrongdoers need to be worried. I strongly disagree with that. You kidding me? You got the government blackmailing you for that weird thing that you do when you close the blinds? I don't think so. The death penalty...
That sounded like a self-report, Michael. Look at that face. That's a good face. We'll pause on this face. This will be a thumbnail. What the fuck, Michael? What weird thing do you do when the blinds are closed, Michael? Also...
The blinds? I don't think so. The death penalty...
Also, he disagrees with this one, but he also thinks our civil liberties aren't being curtailed in the name of counterterrorism. How does he hold both of these positions? Fascism is always incoherent, I know, and contradictory, but These are like 2 questions apart, my guy.
Penalty should be an option for the most serious crimes. Strongly agree with that. The purpose of criminal justice is justice. A secondary advantage of criminal
But you don't like abortion because it's murder. Okay.
Justice is rehabilitation. A tertiary advantage is deterrence. But the point of it is the justice. It is retributive. It's you commit a crime, you got to get punished for it.
Well, dumb face. I think the question is, what should it be?
And hanging concentrates the mind wonderfully, as Dr. Johnson once observed. In a civilized society...
That was stupid. Yeah, should. The word right there, should. Should it be?
One must always have people above to be obeyed and people below.
I'm already Michael Knowles out. But we gotta finish this.
Well, all civilization has had hierarchy, so yes, of course. Abstract
No! That's what makes you a goddamn fascist, Michael Knowles. That's the question that gives it away. Okay. Alright.
Present anything shouldn't be considered art at all. Well, this is a dumb question because abstract art, by definition, represents something. It's abstract, right? It's not a still life of an apple or something. It's abstract, so it is representative of something else. But very often, it's just complete nonsense. And right, that should not be considered art. In order for something to be art, it has to be creative, not just a bunch of blotches that you randomly throw on a canvas. Not a well-phrased question, but I strongly agree. In criminal...
Hey, like I've said, art, how people respond to art is a good way to determine some of their political ideologies and how far right they are. I don't miss.
Justice, punishment should be more important than rehabilitation. I just said that. It's like they're reading my mind. Yes, strongly agree. It is a waste of time to try to rehabilitate some criminals. What do they mean by that? Do they mean some criminals are beyond rehabilitation? That's true. But do they mean that we shouldn't rehabilitate any criminals? No, that's crazy. I'll strongly disagree. The business person and the manufacturer
seems kind of contradictory to your previous thing. Fuck, dude. Michael Knowles, I wanna... You know what? Maybe phrenology is real, you know? maybe there's something to it, looking at Michael Knowles here. I'm
more important than the right.
I'm lost.
Well, yes, in that they keep the blood moving through our economy, right? They keep things going. If you didn't have people to come and fix your toilet, then civilization would collapse in about a week or so. But
psych, I do my own plumbing.
Of course, when we think about civilization, we think about culture. That's what defines a civilization. So I will disagree with that. Everybody has a role to play. Mothers may have careers, but their first duty is to be homemakers. I assume by homemaker, they're not just referring to making sandwiches. I assume by
No, Michael, they mean construction.
Homemaker, they're referring to raising children. And if you're a mother, then you do have a responsibility to raise children. And it's more important, if you have children, than making some widget at a factory. So sure, yeah, I agree with that. Again, poorly phrased. I wouldn't use their phrasing, but...
That's pretty fucking dumb, Michael.
You know, that's this test.
No, you don't have a duty to be a homemaker. That's absurd. If you want to do it, fine. But you have no, like, you're not morally obliged to be a homemaker. This is so stupid. What?
He was written by.
Look at Michael Knowles. He's like, yeah, woman, you want to be submissive and breedable? Michael Knowles. Okay, no. We gotta stop that.
Ethically exploiting the plant genetic resources of developing countries. Nah, give me a break. Strongly disagree.
You don't even know what that means.
Making peace.
He doesn't even know what it means. That's why he moves on.
The establishment is an important aspect of maturity. I do agree with that. You know, little kids want to rebel.
Boo!
They're like rebels without a cause, and they're pissed off at their parents. And it's much more mature, however, to recognize that you didn't just pop into being and out of thin air.
Boo!
Tradition, and maybe you want to improve that tradition, sure, but you have to reconcile yourself to reality before you can do that.
That argument sucks.
Astrology accurately explained from a tradition.
Hold on. How was the question phrased?
Ethically.
Making peace with the establishment is an important aspect of maturity. Didn't you guys? Hold on. Haven't you spent like the last year railing against Biden? Or are you just like hiding in some basement somewhere?
A cause, and they're pissed off at their parents, and it's much more mature, however, to...
You gotta make peace... Listen, Trump cultists, MAGA cultists, you have to make peace with the fact that Trump lost, okay? He lost because he's a big lying loser cuck, and that's what happens to lying loser cucks. They lose. You have to make peace with that. Be mature. Don't be a little baby. Biden won fair and square. Michael Knowles won't say anything like that, though.
You didn't just pop into being and out of thin air. You come from a tradition, and maybe you want...
We did pop out of thin air? I pooped into thin air. That's what I think of that.
Improve that tradition, sure, but you have to reconcile yourself to reality before you can do that. Astrology accurately explains many things. So this one maybe could be unexpected. I think that's possibly true. Like, I'm not someone to totally write off astrology. You know, the Bible tells...
Okay. Well, everything makes sense now. Michael Knowles, his brain doesn't work.
Not to consult astrologers, not because...
That's why he made such a big deal, repeatedly calling Greta Thunberg mentally ill, because there's something wrong with him, and he knows it. And it was a little bit of projection on his part. He's like, I'm a Sagittarius, and that bothers me on a deep emotional level.
He is totally, completely without any merit.
It's not my fault I keyed your car. I'm a pistachio.
Or reality. They tell us not to because it's evil and it compromises our free will. So I guess I don't know, does it accurately explain many things? What does astrology do? You mean the things you read in the newspaper, or astrology suggesting that there is some rhythm to the universe? I guess I would have to agree, but I would encourage...
Wrong! Get him out of here.
You never consult astrologers. You can...
Like I said, weak link.
Not be moral without being religious. You can be accidentally moral, and most people who say they're not religious are very religious. The actor Idris Elba just said that the earth, which is...
Is this like, there are no true atheists. There are no atheists in foxholes. You're all Christians in denial.
A rock, by the way, gave us coronavirus because it's pissed off that we're throwing litter into the streets, or we're throwing plastic to the baby turtles. So that's a very religious idea. That's called pantheism. Some people say you're not religious at all, but actually men can become women because your body has nothing to do with who you really are. That's a religious idea.
What? Wait, I gotta play that back. That was something. What?
Gnosticism.
I gotta play that back. That was stupid.
Pantheism. Some people say they're not religious at all, but actually men can become women because your body has nothing to do with who you really are. That's a religious idea that's called Gnosticism. So they're more...
That face when you have no idea what religion is. I gotta admit, that was an even dumber answer than I was expecting.
Morality, which is a perverted morality. That's
Wait.
Called Gnosticism. So their morality, which is a perverted morality,
So trans people are perverted? What the fuck?
Even that has a basis in religion. Strongly agree.
Trans people are perverted, but it's religious? Wow. Wow, that was something else, I gotta say. I really gotta say.
Charity is better than Social Security as a means of helping the genuinely disadvantaged. Who's disadvantaged? I mean, that's loaded terminology anyway. Charity is better in that charity is a moral exchange. So when I give charity, some guy asks me for charity.
You're not Jordan Peterson, Michael.
I feel the grace, the goodness, the virtue of that act of charity. The beggar feels gratitude to me for what I did, and that's a nice moral relationship.
God.
Taxation, which is what they're talking about here with Social Security, there is no moral relationship. I think Dinesh D'Souza once explained this as the beggar asks me for my sandwich. I'm eating my sandwich and enjoying.
All right, fam. If you've ever reached the point in your life where you're citing Dinesh D'Souza as a positive reference to back up your argument, you are helplessly lost. He can't even form, logical thought patterns. Michael, what are you doing?
Enjoying it. And then Barack Obama rides up.
I just noticed he's on a black leather couch, too. This is awkward.
On a white horse and points a gun at my head and says, "Give the beggar your sandwich." I don't feel the act of charity because I didn't choose to give charity. The beggar doesn't feel gratitude, he feels entitlement. And Barack Obama feels that he's done something productive, even though he's done nothing at all other than point a gun at my head. I guess I
Well, that was stupid.
would have to agree. Some people are natural.
Okay, so the question here had nothing to do with how you feel, or nothing to do with what's... Oh my god. The question is just a better means. Not... Let's move on. That was pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, I think that's true. Agree. Strongly agree. People have disadvantages. Sometimes our suffering can become a great advantage because it deepens our understanding of the world. It is important that my child's school instills religious values. I strongly agree. The trouble is, in public schools, they're instilling all the wrong kind of religious values. They're instilling gender theory in pre-kindergarten in Brooklyn. That's really happening right now.
Can you define what gender theory is?
All sorts
I'd like to hear it.
Very often they instill a hatred of one's country. They instill a hatred of one's civilization.
Yeah, I got to admit, when I was growing up and I saw all these people do the Pledge of Allegiance every day, that actually really did instill a hatred of my country. I don't want to be forced to do this. Fuck you.
So I do agree that it's important. We just got to make sure they're teaching the right religious values.
You're right. Every day, all right, kids, you know what time it is. Get out your prayer mats. We're praying to Allah.
Sex outside marriage is usually immoral. Strongly agree. A same-sex couple in a stable...
he just says that because he couldn't get any.
...loving relationship should not be excluded from the possibility of child adoption. Well, I suppose you got to weigh the alternatives here. Are you talking about a world in which there are zillions of newborn babies who are being put up for adoption and not enough homes for those newborn babies to be adopted into? Because that's not the world we live in. The world we live in, there are 32 couples waiting to adopt.
Hold on, let me hear this hypothetical
again. You got to weigh the alternatives here. Are you talking about a world in which there are zillions of newborn babies who are being put up for adoption?
Yes.
And not enough homes for those newborn babies to be adopted into? Because that's not the world we live in.
No, that is the world we live into. How many kids are in foster care? The foster care system is massively overloaded. There's not enough people for them to go to.
2 couples waiting to adopt for every newborn that's put up for adoption in the United States. So at that point, you have to come to a decision. What is the best place?
32 couples waiting to adopt for every newborn. Is it like 32 couples, but they're all drug addicts? So they can't get any, but hey, they're not gay drug addicts, so it's okay. This can't be right. Not all foster care children are eligible for adoption. Parental rights have not been terminated. Sometimes they're temporary. That's true, yeah. All right. Yeah, there's a lot of red tape involved for other people waiting to adopt. We should just, yeah. Okay, let's go on. This is so bad.
A child to be raised in, and if you believe that men and women are different and they complement one another, and that a child ought to have a right to a mother and father, then surely you have to disagree with this question, which I do. Pornography.
Fuck you, Michael.
Pornography depicting consenting adults.
You know what? Just fuck you. No, I don't need to respond to that question anymore.
Then surely you have to disagree with this question.
Fuck you.
Pornography depicting consenting adults should be legal for the adult population. Well, this question ignores federalism, for one. It ignores the wills of local populations.
Wait, federalism?
This question ignores federalism, for one.
What?
It ignores the wills of local populations. It ignores the type of pornography, some of which is truly obscene, and we would jail people for it on the federal level as recently as 10 or 11 years ago, so I would have to disagree.
It's a should question.
Agree with that.
And he talks about federalism and local law. No, it doesn't ask about those. It's just a should it be legal? Should it be illegal? He talks about obscenity. No. consenting adults, adult population. Pretty damn straightforward, Michael.
Not strongly disagree, but disagree. What goes on in a private bedroom?
What were you doing? What were you doing with the blinds closed, Michael? What were you doing? 100%. He's got some weird shit. I bet you.
Between consenting adults is no business of the state. I don't know what's going on in there. Is the guy like smacking the lady around and tying her up and putting cigarettes out on her forehead?
Consenting. Michael. Does Michael not know what consent is? That would explain it.
Because then I think it is the business of everybody. Some people say you can't legislate morality. All laws legislate morality. So I
not all laws.
Disagree with that. No one can feel
consenting. It was right there. Oh my God.
Naturally
I'm in pain.
I think people can probably feel naturally homosexual. Now, what you do at that point is probably a question for you.
I think we figured out what he's looking at behind closed curtains, guys.
Your religious point of view or your moral or ethical point of view, but I'm sure there are natural longings. These days, openness about sex has gone too far. Strongly agree. I just read a New York City sex guide to surviving the coronavirus pandemic, and it was the filthiest document I've read in probably years. So yeah, has it gone too far?
I have to find this. Is this it? Safer sex and COVID-19? Is this what he's talking about? It looks like it might be. Hold on. Hold on. There's one from BuzzFeed here. BuzzFeed News. This is probably what he's referring to. New York City made a guide to safe sex during the coronavirus outbreak. People are getting a kick out of it. Okay, so with a title like this, it really just sounds like, you know, public health, which is what cities refer to. New York City said masturbate or fuck your roommates. Well, that ain't happening. That's not a good idea. The guide issued by... Okay, it is this one. All right. Safe and effective COVID-19 vaccines allow us to more safely engage in relationships, sex, and everything in between. Virus can spread between sex, since sex can involve close and heavy breathing, contact with saliva. True. Wait, there's nothing in here. This is just like regular stuff. Enjoy sex virtually, such as video dates, sexting, sexy Zoom parties, or chat rooms. Okay. Avoid kissing anyone you do not live with or who is not in your social bubble. That won't be a problem. Hey! Wear a face covering or mask even during sex. Maybe it's your thing, maybe it's not. Wearing a face covering on your nose or mouth adds a layer of protection. Oh, here we go. Make it kinky. Be creative with sexual positions and physical barriers like walls that allow sexual contact while preventing close face-to-face contact. This is just regular. This is filthy to you? This is just regular stuff. No, this is some cope.
I tweeted.
He's got some weird stuff he's trying to distract us from. That's what it is.
And it got so much play, they ended up deleting it. So I'm doing my part to turn back the tide of the sex. I tweeted it out, and I've read in probably years. What? So yeah, has it gone too far? I tweeted it out, and it got so much play, they ended up deleting it. So I'm doing my part to turn back the tide of the sexual revolution. Let's see where I stand.
I don't know what he's talking about.
Okay, so it's telling me all the different places. So like Stalin is the authoritarian left. I said Bernie Sanders. Gandhi is the libertarian left.
Whoa.
Hitler is the authoritarian right. Thatcher is the authoritarian right. I like that only one of these grids that they put two people into is Hitler and Margaret Thatcher.
Yeah.
Like, okay, guys. Cool.
Yeah, there's a reason for that.
Everyone else, libertarian right is Milton Friedman. Libertarian left is Gandhi, authoritarian left is Stalin. But then you got Hitler, and...
Yeah, because some people have done a lot of disinformation with the goal of making people politically illiterate, so they don't realize quite how similar they are to other people. So, but yeah, there's a reason why Margaret Thatcher's a lot like Hitler in many ways.
Margaret Thatcher, the Iron Lady. Okay, the Iron Cross and the Iron Lady. I am, as I predicted, slightly on.
There we go.
Right. 1.5.
As he predicted. Yikes.
To the right on economics. I scored a 3.69 to authoritarian. So I'm almost exactly where I predicted that I would be, despite all of their extremely dumb questions. I think...
Who's the dumb one here? The questions?
That makes me
gotcha. Okay.
A traditional conservative. I'm glad that we've gone through this all, and I hope that you...
That makes me a traditional conservative. Also known as a fascist. No, well, fascism is a trend more so than an ideology.
You, like so many other people on the internet, can be bored enough and self-obsessed enough to take this quiz.
So true.
25 minutes so that you can find out what you already knew at the very beginning.
Yep.
Cheers.
Goodbye. Well, I'm glad I did that because now I got to learn about, him a little bit more. A little more insight into the mind of Michael Knowles. And I have to say, I don't like what I see. Michael Knowles, more like Michael, no! Stay away from me. I have a 200-meter restraining order. That's the joke. I've got nothing else to say. Thank you to the July patron backers. Benjamin Kessler, Dios, Ian Diaby, James Paul, Jai Palamo, Joe Nuts, Laura Day, Lionel, Mellow Cheddar, Suzanne Hendrickson, and Xylarp on Bandcamp.